All right. Well, it's a few minutes early, but I think we should just go ahead and get started because my stomach's in knots and I'd like to go ahead and begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Soul Flora Holistics' first ever live stream. My name is Heather Lowe, and I'm the founder of Soul Flora. I am a wellness practitioner, and that is a very broad umbrella. I am an aromatherapist. I have a background in herbalism. I also have a clinical hypnotherapy certification, and I'm a life coach as well as other things. There's a lot going on there. It kind of encompasses the wellness practitioner. And I take these different modalities and I use them to assist my clients with the help that they need along their journey, because we all need help. And I really, really have a passion for what I do, particularly energy work, which is what we're going to talk about today, because I think it all falls under energy work. I think the energy we put into it is, so crucial, and it can really make or break the outcome. There's a lot that I do, and I would love to share it with you. In the interest of time, I'll be really brief about that, but I would like to recommend that you check out my Facebook page and my Instagram account, because I do post a lot of things there. And as I'm coming towards the end of my time at the Southwest Institute of Healing Arts, where I am getting my actual certification as a wellness practitioner, I will be working more on my own website, www.soulfloraholistics.com, as well as my coaching and hypnotherapy and everything else. So I would love to hear from you, and I would love it if you would take a few minutes and check out my pages and like and follow them. So in the meantime, let's get a little comfortable. If you want a pad and a pen with you and take some notes, that's great. Otherwise, sit back, enjoy yourself, because we're going to be talking about something that's really, really close to me today, and that's going to be energy clearing. And I want you to stay through to the end, of course, but I think you'll really want to, because we're going to have a little something going on. We're going to put on a raffle, and I'll give you the details at the end of the broadcast as to how you can become a part of that. So you definitely want to stick around. So to begin with, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever left work and gotten in your car and just driven home, and the traffic is horrible? The commute's taking you twice as long as you thought it would. There are accidents everywhere, and all this stress is building up. And in addition to that, all you can really concentrate on is how horrible one of your coworkers treated you today. And you just feel like you have this really heavy weight on your shoulders, and you're just exhausted. By the time you get home, you're just exhausted. And all you want to do is just pretty much build a blanket fort and forget about life for a while. And then you think, you know what? I'm going to take a hot shower. That sounds wonderful. The more you think about it, the more you think, oh, yes, that's all I want to do. Take a hot shower, forget about the world. So you go into the bathroom and you get ready and you get in the shower, and you're sitting there in the shower and you're feeling this running water, and it's just cascading all over you. And as you are standing under that water, you think about all of the day's events, and you think of them being picked up by that water and just running down the length of your body into the drain, where it goes away and it's not a part of your problem anymore. And you get out of the shower and you realize that you feel a lot better. Obviously you're clean, but you feel lighter and you feel more positive and more relaxed. That is energy clearing. And some people would think, well, yeah, duh, of course it is. And other people would think, really? And, we're here for everybody, so I want everybody to sit around. But yeah, this is energy clearing. And, it can take so many forms, and it can be as simple as that shower or as intricate as a smudging ritual and everything in between. And we're going to kind of talk about the ways in which you can build these little things into your daily life or become mindful of what you're already doing to help you clear your energy and get rid of just that funk that you collect every day. So let's begin with that. Well, but before we actually begin with that, I actually want to talk about why I have chosen this topic. Again, this is something I'm really passionate about, and I've experienced it firsthand, which is why I have studied it, I've taken classes, I have cleared myself, I've cleared others, I've cleared spaces, and the difference is palpable. It seems like also more and more that life just kind of piles junk up on top of our shoulders, and it gets difficult to get rid of that. So I think that taking what we're going to talk about today and incorporating it can really help you feel the lift of that burden from your shoulders. And it can help really kind of give you confidence and courage and empower you to take control of your space and of your person so that you can clear yourself and clear your environment and add things that you want: positivity, joy, love. I think these are really important steps to take, and they lead to a happier existence. Now, as far as what is energy clearing, because I'm sure some of you are like, this seems so vague, what is she talking about? So energy clearing refers to a list of varied exercises where stagnant or oppressive or negative energy is obliterated, and it's replaced with a lighter positive energy. There's lots of different ways to do this. A lot of it happens with the burning of herbs or resins. We can use sound therapy. There's all kinds of different ways to do it. We're going to go through all of those tools shortly. Now, why would you want to do this? I mean, we kind of already have talked about that, but you can increase your vitality and your optimism, and it actually aids in manifestation if you're doing work. Any kind of rituals, money draw, road opening. If you just want to change your outlook on life, energy clearing is a great way to do that. And it also brings balance to mind, body, and spirit. And I really think that that's important for a lot of us, a lot more of us, to be honest. I think more people are becoming really aware of that mind-body connection and how the spirit kind of coincides with that and works in. And a lot of practitioners, I will say, talking about cautionary tales, but I think a lot of practitioners of the healing arts actually see this connection between energy and dis-ease or disease in the body. Now, I'm not saying that if you have a bad day, it's going to cause cancer, and I'm definitely not saying that clearing energy is going to cure any kind of dis-ease. Definitely not. But what we're talking about with this is on a very subtle level. It's something that you can do to sort of help balance you out and help you find the energy and the courage, for lack of a better word, to help seek out healthy lifestyle changes and practice self-care. And I think that goes a long way. And certainly energy clearing is a part of both a healthy life change and self-care. Now, going back a moment to the topic of dis-ease or disease, remember that you should always see a doctor if you think that something's wrong. Energy clearing is strictly meant to be a complementary modality. So definitely do not deny yourself any potential care. So moving along, the big question I think a lot of people have is, well, who can clear energy? What do I have to have, like a certification? Do I have to have a training? And the short answer is everybody can do this. I mean, anyone can do this, certainly. You don't have to be a priestess or a shaman or a Reiki master to clear energy. I mean, you certainly can, and it definitely helps, but anyone can do it. I used to work in retail, and I worked with a manager who, whenever the store was quiet, and we worked in a busy mall in Atlanta, so whenever the store was quiet, which was pretty rare, she would walk around the front of the store and just clap. Just walk around and clap. And, you know, at first I kind of thought, okay, what is she doing? And then she explained it to me, how it got things moving. And sure enough, every time she did it, customers would start coming in. And, you know, I didn't know it at the time, but that was one of the first examples of me seeing energy clearing in action. So what a wonderful example for someone in their 20s to see that, you know, this little tiny act can really make this huge difference. And there are so many different levels to energy clearing as far as complexity. It can be as simple as clapping, it can be as detailed as a Native American smudging ritual, and everything in between. And, you know, this event kind of focuses more on the simple kind of everyday things that you can do in life to clear energy. But, you know, I've also posted a couple of links in the description box of the live stream so that you can learn more about the details of smudging ceremonies, because they're really fascinating. And I definitely think that it's important to know that background. So another question that people might have is, well, when should I clear? You know, do I have to do it at a set time, or, you know, when the moon is a certain phase? And you can obviously do that, absolutely. But I think it's important to kind of follow your instinct. We'll talk a lot about instinct and intuition during this presentation, because it's very important when it comes to smudging or working with energy. You need to follow your gut and listen to that little voice, because it's very important, and it's usually pretty accurate. So, but as far as clearing and when you should do it, the short answer is, in my opinion, whenever you need to. You may want to make scheduled, like, deep cleanings and do those once a month, once every 6 weeks, however long you would like to do them. But you might want to just also go as needed, you know, the shower every day, the clapping if you feel the need at work, or, you know, little things that you can do. And we'll talk about this a little bit more. Personally, I'm an as needed type of gal, because routine and scheduling just don't work very well for me sometimes. So, you know, just go with the flow is what I'm saying, definitely. You know, your instincts are going to lead you to where you need to be, whether it's in regards to the tools you use or the time that you decide to clear. You know, it's just definitely wise to listen. And, you know, another thing that I wanted to say is that if something I say here doesn't sit well with you, then by all means, listen to that little voice and move away from it. You know, the right choice comes along for each of us, and you got to follow that. So now we're going to take a moment and we're going to talk about the tools that we can use. And I have a whole array of tools to show you. We will not be lighting anything on fire, just because I want you to be able to actually see what I'm showing you. And I don't want to catch my hair on fire. But before we do that, before we talk about the tools and talismans, I just want to talk about working with intention. So many of the tools that I have here are plant-based. And when you are working with plants, you must always remember to honor the spirit of the plant. You know, this includes asking for permission and giving thanks, expressing gratitude for what this plant has given you. And always think about the byproduct of what you're doing and dispose of it responsibly. You know, the ashes from smudging, put them in the earth. You know, let it return to the earth from where it came. If you have any packaging that the materials have come in, try and recycle it. I don't know where it went because I had it a minute ago and it's gone, but I had like a little plastic bag that one of my smudge sticks came in, And, you know, I can recycle that. So it's just important to be mindful and, you know, think about the earth while we're doing this. And on that topic, another thing that I really, I can't stress this enough. When it comes to this, when it comes to working with natural products, natural ingredients, elements, whatever you want to call them, less is more. You know, don't use 20 drops of lavender essential oil when 5 will do. It's unnecessary. And these things they're growing in popularity. And as a result, consumption is on the rise. So we are finding that certain things like frankincense is starting to become really rare and really difficult to find. We've seen through drought conditions that sage crops are not coming in the same way. You just want to kind of be mindful about what you use. And, you know, I'm really lucky because I actually used to be a buyer at a metaphysical store. So I actually have a ton of stuff. I've got a bag of mixed sage and cedar and juniper, and this was just the stuff that fell out of the box when we unpacked smudge sticks. So, you know, I did buy a couple of things for today for the purposes of demonstration, but for the most part, I'm pretty set. So I don't go out buying stuff willy-nilly. I use what I have at home. And, you know, these materials, they're precious. And if we want them to be here for hundreds of years to come, then we definitely need to be mindful about how we use them. And with that, we are going to move on to herbs and resins. I love talking about herbs and resins. I love talking about all of this, but I really love herbs and resins. So herbs and resins are plant-based, and they consist of roots and stems and leaves and flowers and saps. And traditionally speaking, you have like your building blocks. So your foundational plant that you build your smudge from. Usually it's sage, but it can also be cedar or juniper. Those are 3 really good, like I said, foundational plants to use. And these are going to help clear an environment. They're going to help clear a person. They are the white paint that you would use to paint over a canvas that you want to reuse. They're going to completely clear everything out. And after you filled that, or after you cleared that out, you've got to go back over on that canvas and paint your picture. So you need to take your environment and you need to fill it with intention. And at that point, you're going to use, there's a lot of different things that you can use. Lavender is really wonderful for bringing in kind of calm and peace. Rose petals are wonderful for bringing in love, be it love for others or love for yourself. That's a very important distinction to make. Sweetgrass, I'm going to show you sweetgrass. This is one of my most favorite little plants in the world. First of all, it smells heavenly. When it's burning, it smells kind of like cinnamon toast, and it's just gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. And sweetgrass is all about bringing the sweetness back into your life. And it's really hard to keep lit. And I actually had someone tell me once that the sweet things in life are really difficult and they take a lot of work. So sweetgrass takes work as well. And I just thought that was a really wonderful way of describing this plant and its properties and how to work with it. Now, little cheat, this is something I do. I take an offering bowl and I have, I don't know if you can see it, but I've got like little rocks in it. And in that, I also have a charcoal tab. You light the charcoal tab. And what I do is I will take this and I'll take some scissors and I'll snip off pieces of it small enough to fit on the charcoal tab. so that I'm not constantly having to relight it, because it burns fast. It's really quick and then it's gone. So this way you can kind of snip and make almost like a little mound of it. And oh my goodness, it's beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. And it fills the environment with this lovely, soft, sweet, peaceful energy. So I really recommend trying this. You might try it and find that something else works better for you, and that's fine. But this is one of my favorite go-to plants. I also will say that, you've got a couple of different types of smudging tools. These are both smudging sticks. This is blue sage and basil, and this is good for clearing and for money manifestation. And this is just white sage. Now you'll get tons of different types of smudge sticks. You can get smudge sticks with sweetgrass braids in them, as a matter of fact. And I just, go with your gut. If you're using just a plain sage or a plain juniper or plain cedarwood, you're gonna want to go back around the area and use something else. But if you're using a combination smudge stick, or if you've taken some herbs and resins and ground them up and you're putting them on your charcoal tab, then you can kind of make one round. It's up to you. It's really knowing about what the plants do. But your sages, your cedars, your junipers, those are good for clearing, really good for clearing. And that doesn't mean that the other plants and resins aren't. It just means that those are like your foundations that you definitely want to add. I'm personally not a fan of the smell of white sage. It's a little too aromatic for me, although that one's not too bad. So I personally prefer blue sage, but everybody's a little different. We also have, can't really see it. Let me see if I can grab a little pearl of it. This is copal, and it's a resin. It's a tree sap. And they're just these little tears that smell divine. And you can take some of that, and you can take some herbs, and you can grind them up in a mortar and pestle, and you can make a powder. And then from that, you can take that and sprinkle it on your charcoal tab, and that can be your smudging mix. We also have, I have a huge chunk, this is actually half of what it was, of dragon's blood. Dragon's blood is a thick red tree sap. It's bright, bright red, and it smells amazing when it's burning. I absolutely love dragon's blood. But with this, I actually have to take a hammer and like some kind of, like a screwdriver or something that I can use as a chisel and break a part of this off, and then put that in my mortar and pestle to grind it up. It's really kind of crunchy almost. They grind pretty easily, but they're also, because they're saps, they're really sticky. So, just be mindful of that. You definitely you're going to get a little dirty when you do this, but that's part of the fun, I think. Let's see here. I also have Palo Santo. Now I want to talk about Palo Santo because it is such a special natural ingredient for clearing. Palo Santo is also a holy wood, and it is a cousin of the boswellia tree, which is where we get frankincense from. This tree, it is illegal to cut it down. So what happens is when trees fall, this is when they harvest the wood. Now when you smell it, it has kind of a piney, kind of, not antiseptic, but it has a really bright scent to it, almost like a pine. It's wonderful. And it actually helps deodorize and clear the air. I want to say it helps with bacteria, but you might want to look that up. I did post a link about Palo Santo in the description. But you definitely, it's definitely one of those things where if you've never tried it before, I highly recommend trying it. And you just light the end. Sometimes I'll carry a candle, like I said, just stick it in there, let it smolder for a bit, and then the smoke comes out and I can use that. And I will tell you this, the scent from this little stick, and obviously you don't use the whole stick at one time, but the stick, that scent, oh my gosh, it'll last for days. even if you've got all your windows open and you've got fans going, this stuff, the scent just lingers, and it's so lovely. It's just absolutely beautiful. So those are our resins and our oil, or our resins and our herbs. And I mean, obviously there are a lot of other different herbs and a lot of other resins, and you kind of experiment with it and find what works for you. Personally, I really love blue sage or cedar with copal and like a little handful of lavender flowers. I just think that that is like the most heavenly combination on the planet. And then I might add a little sweetgrass into that. So, you know, you just kind of start cooking and you see what really kind of sticks and what your palate is attracted to. You're not eating this, by the way. That sounded like you're eating it, but you're not. So on to oils. And I've got a couple of different things in oils. I've got two different things. I've got actual oils, and then I've got Florida water, which Florida water is a little different. But oils, I'm talking about essential oils. And there are a couple of ways you can use these. One way is that you can take a few drops of oils, make your blend up. Lavender, rose, a little bit of peppermint maybe, or a citrus oil, you know, whatever gets in there. Cedar definitely. And you want to add these to like an atomizer bottle. And so a few drops, some water, some spring water, and just you can spritz it around the room. Now, I will say that if you've got some witch hazel, or if you've got some rubbing alcohol or some vodka, you can put a tiny little touch of that into the bottle. Now, it doesn't act as a dispersant. It doesn't actually emulsify any of the oils, but what it does is when you shake it, it creates these little micro drops, and that will kind of let your oils go a little bit further. So I would maybe recommend that. You know, some people like to use witch hazel. I'll use witch hazel or vodka kind of interchangeably. But one thing I do need to stress caution with is that because these aren't dispersants, you really don't want to spray yourself and get this mist in your eyes or in your mouth. No mucous membranes. So just be careful when you're doing that. We definitely want to practice safety when we're working with this stuff, because we're going to be working with open flame. We're going to be working with volatile oils. You know, just because it's natural doesn't mean it's safe. So just kind of exercise caution and use your noggin when you're doing this. So let's see here. Alternatively, I would really recommend that you want to kind of avoid contact with animals with any kind of sprays like this, because, you know, like for example, cats. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but my cat's been howling out in the hallway for the past 30 minutes. She's wondering why exactly I'm in here talking and she's not part of the conversation. Cats are really sensitive to especially essential oils, but and dogs can be too, and you don't want to run the risk of harming them by spraying stuff around. So just, again, be mindful of safety. Also, you can take a couple of drops of essential oils, whatever your blend might be. You might want to make a master blend and put it in a bottle, and then you can just take a couple of drops of that master blend, and you can put it in your shower gel. I use this, so I love Dr. Bronner's. So you can use it in shower gel. You can use it in Castile soap. The only thing I would caution is if you're going to use it in the bath, you need to have it, you know, oil and water don't mix. So you need to have it with some form of oil first, and then you can maybe mix that oil in a salt. So that would be safe. But you really want to be careful, because you don't want to have like an oil slick that you sit in and, you know, you get certain really delicate tissues that are going to get burned potentially, depending upon the oil that you're using. You know, you could always just imagine, as I spoke about at the beginning, the water from the shower just sort of running down and taking all of that bad energy away and down the drain and out of your life. So that's a really powerful visualization. You can definitely use that instead. The point is to realize that you have options and that you don't have to go out and spend hundreds of dollars on oils and products when you can just do something really simple, really kind of DIY at home. So I'm going to go on to Florida water now. And Florida water, Florida water just defies description. Okay, first of all, it is super cheap, and I mean really, really cheap. It's totally inexpensive. I think it's like a couple of bucks at Walmart for this bottle, and it's actually a cologne. So it's nothing that any metaphysical company has ever made. I want to say it's like a citrus and lavender base. It smells kind of, it smells kind of nice. It smells like your typical type of like kind of toilet water cologne. But you know what's really weird about it is that this stuff, it works as far as clearing energy goes. I mean, it's incredible. It's insane how well it works. You take a little bit into your hand, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, be careful because you will pour this out all over you. Take a little bit and just kind of rub it on your hands, and then you can just kind of rub, kind of clear your energy a little bit. And it kind of smells nice when it kind of smells like soap when it's kind of the alcohol's burned off. So it's quite nice. But seriously, I totally recommend seeking this out because it's not going to disappoint. I feel kind of buzzy whenever I put it on, especially like up in my crown chakra. So that's it for oils. So let's move along to sound, which is a really fun one because it's kind of like being in kindergarten and first grade when you go to music class and you'd have the maracas and the little shakers and the drums. It's kind of like that, except we're actually doing something with it. So sound therapy is one of my favorite ways to clear energy, by the way. But I do want to give one little warning. You want to be careful when you're practicing with instruments that you do not get close to the ears when you first strike whatever it is, because you don't want to damage hearing. You don't want to damage your hearing. You don't want to damage anyone else's. We don't need that, So also when you're working with sound, sound therapy is really, really good about breaking up thick, stagnant energy that just does not want to go anywhere. It helps break that up. But what you want to do after that is smudge with herbs or oils or whatever. You just want to make sure you smudge. It's kind of like the analogy that I can give you is that the instrument is the Dawn dishwashing liquid, and let's say your home is the greasy pan, and you got all this stuff stuck everywhere. You can't get it to break apart with normal methods. So you take your sound therapy and you take your chime and you clang it, or you take your egg shakers and you shake them, and you have broken up that energy. That's like the equivalent of putting that dish detergent into the greasy pan. And then from that point, you've broken it up. So the smudging is going to be the equivalent of you actually physically wiping and washing it out. It works so well, though. I mean, you really will notice a difference, especially, like I said, if you've had stagnant energy that you just can't seem to lift. You smudge several times, you think, why isn't this going away? It still feels really kind of oppressive in here. So you definitely would want to use sound therapy first with that. And there are a lot of different instruments too. This is a chime, just a little chime, and you can, I don't want to hit it too hard, but you can kind of use that around the room. And there are the little shakers, like I showed you. I love these. These are like the greatest thing ever. And then they have tuning forks too, which you probably won't be able to hear the tuning forks very well because they're pretty low, but you can they're a very low vibration. And there are tons of different types of tuning forks. This is just the type that I have. Now, I don't want you to think that you've got to spend a lot of money on something like this, though. because you don't have to have a $200 Tibetan singing bowl to clear sound in, or to clear energy in a room with sound. All you need is a coffee can and some rice, dried rice, and dried beans. Put the lid back on it and shake it, and you're good to go. And I have even, in a pinch, used a box of candy, a box of Tic Tacs, just to kind of shake it around myself when I didn't have my egg shakers with me. So, that's just a really good way to have an alternative. Some people can't burn herbs. They might live in an environment where they might not be able to burn them at home for whatever reason. Maybe they have asthma, they can't burn them at all. They might be wanting to cleanse their work environment, and you really couldn't burn anything in your office. So at that point, using things like sound therapy or the mist, like the sprays, that's really good. Really, really good. Another thing that would actually work well if you couldn't burn, or actually if you couldn't do any of the things that I've just spoken about, sometimes maybe you don't have time, maybe you got a headache, you don't want to clang a bunch of chimes around the room of your office, or maybe you've got a coworker who you want to kind of keep it on the down low, you don't want them to know that you're just being driven crazy by them. So another thing that you could do is prayer and requests for assistance. And I've also put Reiki in here in case you have a Reiki attunement. Prayer and requesting assistance from guides or archangels, this is really powerful work. And that is putting that out there to the divine that you need assistance. And it's some of the strongest and most subtle energy that I've ever felt. It's a real dichotomy, and it's really hard to explain. It's just like this whooshing sensation, but it's also really soft and really gentle. Some people say a prayer to their higher power. Some people will, kind of ask, like I said, their guides for assistance. Please help me with this. And another thing that you can also do is envisioning yourself in a, kind of bubble of light. A lot of people will say, I'm bubbling up. They put that bubble around them, this bright, healing white light, or a beautiful, loving pink light that fills you with energy and helps you stay kind of protected. They're just really beneficial. I use that a lot in the car when I'm driving, a whole lot. So I envision the whole car in a bubble. So it helps me maintain my sanity in Atlanta traffic sometimes. It's really protective and healing. And likewise, if you have a Reiki attunement, you can use Reiki to clear yourself, of course, and you can use Reiki to clear an environment. So really gentle and powerful. And let's see here. Talking about gentle and powerful and very subtle, we also have crystals. And I have some Lemurian points, just like really kind of simple, kind of rough Lemurians. They're really pretty. I have tons of tumbled stones too. And tumbled stones are nice because they're small, they're easy to take with you, portable. You can put a couple on your desk at work. You can put a few in a pouch, you can put them in your pocket, women put them in their bra. And it's a nice way to take these wonderful little natural elements from Mother Earth and use the properties that they have to balance and correct and kind of give you a feeling of clarity or whatever you need. There's a crystal for everything, basically. Stones like clear quartz, smoky quartz, black tourmaline and quartz, these are great for amplifying positivity and clearing and dispelling negative energy. They're wonderful. And I actually sometimes will take my little bottle of spray, I'll get really small tumbled stones and put them down in the bottom of that so that I have this mist blend and I have the stones kind of infusing that blend with a higher vibrational energy. So it's just kind of like, boom, this little powerhouse. I love it. And you definitely feel the difference then. I do one little word of caution when you're working with crystals, though. There are some crystals that are that will dissolve. There are some crystals that are salts, so you definitely want to make sure that you do your research. There are crystals that contain lead, so you would not want to use them in a liquid preparation of any kind, because you're going to be spraying this around you, and you're going to be spraying a lead-based stone essentially around you. You don't want anything that's soft or that's a salt. You don't want it to really dissolve. You'll ruin your crystal that way. So, just kind of really look into it. I highly recommend the Crystal Bible and the Book of Stones to help you kind of feel your way through that kind of thing if you're unfamiliar with crystals. Oh, and another thing as well, just looking at my notes here, you do definitely want to make sure that if you have any crystals like that that contain lead or that are kind of not safe to be around, or not safe to, you don't want children, you don't want pets, you don't want anything like that that could potentially lick them, put them in their mouths. You really want to be careful with that. So just kind of keep them on a high shelf or keep them somewhere around that pets and children can't get to them. So moving along, something that is safe, we're going to talk about flower essences. And flower essences to me are magical. They are just pure magic. You take a bowl with water, and you take different flowers and different plants, and you put them in that bowl of water, and then you put that bowl of water out in the sun or in the moon for a couple of hours, and the vibrational pattern from the plant infuses in the water. And so you have this very safe, very non-invasive method of energetic healing that anyone can access on a vibrational level, and it's safe. You can take them internally. You would want to just be careful just in case you have a sensitivity to alcohol, because most of them, this is a little bottle for nightmare relief, most of them do have alcohol as a preservative. So, but you can, I think, purchase some that don't have alcohol as a preservative. I want to say they can use glycerin. I know with herbal tinctures they can use glycerin as a preservative as well. So just another thing to keep in mind. They're just pure spirit. They're pure vibrational energy. And again, another thing that I like to do is add them to my mist. And so it's like you've got the powerhouse already of your essential oils and your crystals, and then you add a little bit of flower essence in them, and it's just boom. It is amazing, amazing energy that you're just spritzing around yourself and all over the room, and it's awesome. It's really awesome. So moving along, our next topic is going to be how to clear. And for the purposes of the presentation, I'm going to not talk about really specific like ritual cleansing, ritual clearing, mainly because I'm stuck here sitting in front of a computer, in front of a webcam. So I'm not mobile, I'm stationary. So I can't really go into the details of what you would want to do, how you would do it. Maybe one day in the future we'll do that. But for now, I've got a link posted that's a really good article that talks about like smudging ceremonies. So that could be something that if you're interested in, you can look into. But as far as like simple clearings, using the herbs and the smudging that we've talked about on our person and environment, I think that simple clearing always begins in my mind with setting the intention. And this again can be through prayer, it can be through requests for assistance. I tend to work with archangels quite a bit, so I will call in the archangels that I tend to work with and also ask my guides to be here so that they can assist me and provide protection while I'm working, because you never know what kind of energy you're going to run into. You want to make sure on a kind of, earthly plane, that you get some airflow going in the home. If you're smudging yourself, if you're smudging the environment, it doesn't matter. Just kind of get some airflow going. Open up some windows. If you're smudging your house, I highly recommend opening up every window in your house. And if you've got ceiling fans, turning those fans on. And if you can open the doors, do that as well. Your keywords with this are movement and flow. You really want things to travel and go where they need to go. And you want that energy to not be stagnant and to, I mean, we're breaking up energy and getting rid of it, and we're filling it with other things. So, you definitely want to keep that moving. If I'm working with a smudge stick, I will take a candle with me, like I said before, and I will basically, I'll use one of, I will light my candle and just kind of keep it with me, so that I can relight my smudge stick from time to time, because they do go out. If I am working with the offering bowl that has the charcoal tab in it, I really like to, if I have a little square pot holder, put that on so I can hold it. That way it keeps me from burning myself. This could potentially get hot, like really hot. If you want to put it down, you can put it on top of the pot holder, and at least then your surfaces are safe. This little guy is a charcoal tab, of course, and if you've got a pair of tongs, like kitchen tongs, that's going to be your best way to hold that when you light it, because you're just going to hold it with the tongs and then light it with your lighter or your candle. And what's going to happen is it's going to spark, and you're going to see the little spark kind of travel across. That's the saltpeter that's in it that acts as an accelerant, and it's going to kind of spark it up and get it going. These are Swiftlight brand, but there is also another brand called Three Kings, and you can usually buy charcoals wherever you get incense, at your metaphysical stores, but also if you have any kind of shop that's like a tobacco shop or a smoking shop that sells hookah supplies, you'll find them there as well, because that's what they use to light the shisha with. Let's see here. No matter what I'm using, I will say this, for me personally, it's funny, I'm not a methodical person, but I am. So when it comes to smudging, I like to throw open all the windows and all the doors, and I like to start at the back of the house and work my way in each room in a clockwise motion, and then move out and go to the next room and work in a clockwise motion until I get all the way to the front of the house. Now, you might think that does not make any sense to me. I want to do it this way, and that's totally cool. You do it that way. There are some people who want to work on different moon phases. That's wonderful. Absolutely do that. There are some people who want to work in a room. When they smudge with the sage, they want to work in a counterclockwise motion to get rid of things. And then when they go back and they burn the other things, like the lavender or the sweetgrass, they want to work in a clockwise motion to bring things in. Whatever works for you is fine. I mean, anything at all. I cannot stress that enough. Remember to always trust your intuition. I tend to take my tools and work from room to room. So what I do is I usually have like a little basket, and I put everything in there, and I look like Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz, kind of take, or I guess Little Red Riding Hood, kind of take it around from room to room. And, I like to get into the cracks of like the nooks and crannies and the corners of every room, down in the bottom where the baseboards are, because that energy hides everywhere. And that's why it's good, if you haven't smudged for a really long time, or if you've never done it before in your house, to use some sound therapy first and just get that stuff kind of ready to go. Now, one thing I will say again is, if you're going to use instruments, you need to use your instruments in a room or in the whole house, and then as soon as you're done with that, you need to go back over and smudge. So just keep that in mind. Another thing, as far as safety is concerned, because we're all about safety here, if you're working in closets. So, in your bedroom, you've got your closet open. If you're working with any kind of smoldering plant material, I would probably say stand back a few feet and just kind of waft the smoke in. I do actually do have an abalone shell, but I don't use it generally. But you can just kind of hold it and waft it over. Or if you've got your smudge stick, pretending this is a smudge stick, you can just kind of waft it. And that way the smoke can get into the closet and clear out in the closet, but you're not setting your clothes on fire, which is not really something we want to do, I would think. But hey, everybody's life is different, right? So once you're done with that, like I said, with the sound therapy, you can go back in and do this. You can going back to the closets for a moment, you can use sound therapy, and then if you want to spray, you can spray in the closets to keep it safe. So when you're done with your ritual, you want to go back through and you want to place any talismans that you've prepared. So angel coins or medallions, crystals, evil eyes, dream catchers, whatever your faith or your beliefs kind of work with. I take a lot of little angel coins, like archangel coins, and a little bit of sticky tack, and I stick them above the doors. And I also take stones and I grid them above the doors as well. So that's just something that I like to do. You might find something else that you enjoy. So just make sure that, you do you, basically. And another thing that I always do when you're done is to make sure that you close it out. Close it out and say your thanks. Give gratitude to the beings that were with you, to the archangels, to your higher power, to your guides, whoever you've called upon to assist you with this. Gratitude is the most important thing next to intention. You want to be grateful for this process, and it really kind of helps sort of seal everything off in my mind. And I felt it too. I can definitely feel the difference between if I'm like doing something really quick and taking my time with it. So you can follow up with this as needed. You might do one big smudge once every 6 to 8 weeks and then decide, okay, well, I don't need to do anything else in the meantime, but I might, spritz in the room with the mist that I made, or I might take my Tic Tacs and shake them. There's all kinds of stuff that you might want to do. So for personal clearing, there's a myriad of ways that you can accomplish this. You might want to use your smudge wand and allow the smoke to just kind of waft around you. Again, I use a candle, just kind of let it smolder. And then I just kind of take it and I just kind of go all over and let it waft around. Just really kind of take a moment and feel that smoke kind of cleansing your body of any negative energy. You can take your instruments. We have our chime. One, again, very important, when you strike this, you want to strike it away from you because you do not want to get that near your ears. And if you're using this with someone else, same thing. Strike it away from them, and then after it's kind of dulled a bit, you can come back and then just kind of roll it over them. And let me tell you, you will really feel this, especially such a high vibration as this chime. It is amazing. So just strike away and then wait, and then you can roll it all around over you. So the shakers, you can have a little bit more fun with. Personally, for me, I like to kind of, shake, but you can do it however you want to. Smudging spray, just, give it a good shake before you use it, and really make sure that you've got everything closed, eyes, mouth, and just let it waft all over you. Let it get all over you. And then I usually do this too. That's just my thing. It kind of helps everything go around where it needs to. So, it's silly, but it's my method. So, the Florida water, again, I'm going to come back to because I really like it. And like I said, this is open. Open, open, open. So it might actually come with an orifice reducer and I took it off. I can't remember, but you just want to kind of be careful because you're going to get this stuff everywhere otherwise. And you just want to take that, rub it in your hands, and then just clear yourself with it, paying attention to any chakras, or if you feel any like kind of energy deficiencies, just kind of make sure that you pay attention to those things. Really kind of take deep breaths before you start this and be really mindful of the process. And you'll notice, you'll feel it definitely. Sometimes it might come to you as like a cold spot or a warm spot, so, or it might tingle. Just pay attention to it. And actually thinking of that, another thing that I like to do if I don't have any of this stuff with me, if I'm stuck somewhere where I have no tools, not even a box of Tic Tacs, one thing that you can do is to sort of scrape or brush that energy just off of you. But the thing you want to be mindful about is that you don't want to like sling it on someone. So, just kind of as you're brushing it, take it, and then, kind of sling it off to the side, or go outside if you can. Go outside, stand in nature. It's grounding to stand in nature anyway. If you can take your shoes off, take your shoes off. If you can lean against a tree, lean against a tree, and just kind of brush yourself down and then just sling it out. But try not to sling it on somebody else. You don't want to ruin somebody's day unnecessarily. Nobody wants your junk, basically. So, and really, that's kind of it for smudging. For energy clearing. There are so many ways you can do this, and we've obviously gone through a lot of them, and there's probably about 10 more ways that I didn't think of. So, keep an open mind and really kind of develop your own methods, I would say. I've been lucky enough to have some really great teachers in my life who've taught me all of this great information. And I take that and I make little recipes of my own. And, there's some great books out there and articles. And again, your own intuition, because that's what really, really, really is going to drive this thing. You're doing this for yourself. You're doing it so you don't feel horrible. You want to feel lighter. You want to feel good again. You want to feel optimistic and positive and feel that sense of joy and love radiating from you. And it's hard to do that when you've got this stagnant, just crappy energy weighing you down. So and another thing I would highly, highly, highly recommend is a trip to your local metaphysical store. You're going to find tons of materials, tons of learning tools for it, classes. Definitely keep your mind open as far as methods for energy clearing. But if it feels weird, let it go, because it's not for you. So, I really hope this presentation has allowed you to see just how crucial energy clearing is and how it can just totally be easily incorporated into your daily living. This is something that you can easily, through practice, it can easily become second nature. And I would love it if you have any questions that, please contact me. Please feel free to contact me. You can contact me at my email address, which is Heather Lowe, that's HeatherLowe at soulfloraholistics.com. Or you can access my Facebook or my Instagram accounts, and you can find me there. You just need to look me up under Soul Flora Holistics. And I would really, really love it actually if you would take the time and go to these accounts and just hit that little like button. It means a lot to me. I am just starting out, and the more people I can interact with, the better. And I'll be having launch deals and promos and all kinds of stuff coming up. So you really want to take advantage of it if it's something that interests you. And, you know, in the spirit of reciprocity for this presentation, which I've really, really enjoyed, and I hope you have too, I'm going to make this worth your time. So if you go to my social media accounts, my Facebook and my Instagram, remember, Soul Flora Holistics, and you like both of those, or you follow both of those, then I'm going to have a raffle. And now what I have is, I have 6 kits that are smudging kits. So in each kit, there is a small atomizer bottle. It's smaller than this. This is I'm not sure what ounce this is. I think this is a 2-ounce bottle. No, this is a 4-ounce bottle. So it'll be a 2-ounce bottle, I think. And then it'll also have a little vial that has a specially, custom blended for this purpose, clearing essential oil blend, and a couple of tumbled stones in a little bag. So you can create your own spray through this. And I would really, really love to be able to do this. This is like something that excites me when I think about making these little kits and getting them out there. So I'm going to draw 6 people at random, 3 from my Instagram and 3 from my Facebook. And I will contact the winners and we can get you guys your kits. So I really think that that would be a cool thing to do, and I would love to hear feedback on that as well. So again, thank you so much for this. This has been my first live stream, and it feels really weird talking to a little dot on my computer, but I really hope to have more in the future. And, in the meantime, get to clearing, let's clear that energy, guys. All right. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.